Hi, welcome to the RAMS Agents Production Coaching Call. The goal of the call is to help you sell more homes by maximizing your repeat and referral closings by implementing the Referral Agent Mastery System into your practice. My name is Mike Cerrone, a co-founder of RAMS Agents, and my co-host is Angela Newman, a master trainer of RAMS Agents. Hello, Angela. How are you today?
Good morning. I am doing great. How are you guys?
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Well, first of all, just a couple quick announcements. Welcome back from Thanksgiving break. Hope you had a great time. Enjoyed time with your family and the time off for whatever you did take off. I took off quite a bit of time last week. Hopefully you did too, and regenerate your engines a little bit. Let's see, we've got a couple other quick things. We've got a call coming up Thursday. Patty is going to be doing her presentation on getting more listings with the disc profile. That'll be 1 o'clock Eastern, I believe. And so if you have time, be sure to show up for that. Should be a good one. And what else do we got here? We've got business planning sessions for 2026. I'm going to put a link into the chat. And there we go. All right, so we're coming up on the end of the year, and what I'd like to offer to you, and it's completely voluntary, but if you'd like, I'll meet with you one-on-one and help you go through and help you set up a quick business plan, or at least get some clarity on coming forward into the new year, 2026, how to set your goals and set a plan for achieving them. So if you want to get in on that, let me know. I think Tristan's already set one up, so good job, Tristan. I think we're meeting later today, and we'll get that going. And then if you'd like, we can also do the one-page business plan presentation, if that was helpful. We did that last year. Give me a thumbs up if you'd like to do that again. Yeah, okay, cool. So maybe we'll put that on the calendar and get that going in the next week or two, and get that up as well. We maybe can use that for both production and some attraction for the group as well. Get some other folks to come in and check that out, and help them as well. All right, so that's one of the other announcements. What else do we have? We have expireds. We had was the end of the month, and yesterday, or excuse me, I guess Sunday. And so yesterday, the first of the month, we had quite a bit of expireds pop up in my area. I think there were 10 and another 4 today. So be sure to check your expireds and see what's going on. Again, if you pursue expireds, that you definitely want to be on that. And even if not, just to see what's going on in the market so you can explain that to your people, both your buyers and your sellers. Let them know what's happening in the movements in the market. All right, so those were my my quick updates and announcements. Let's do this. Let's go into good news. Do we have some good news out there? Anybody have a good story they'd like to share for the last week? We had a week without each other, so anything that happened good over the last week? I think we had some. Well, I'll just stay there. Any good news?
I had a closing yesterday. Some good news.
Good job, Tristan. Congratulations. And now, was that a real estate or a lease?
Yeah, I'll buy. I buy
I said a real estate,
purchase.
a sell or a lease. So it was a buy.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fantastic. Congratulations. What a great Christmas present.
Thanks.
That's good. That's good. Let's get a couple more for December. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Gotta fill up the pipeline and get some more signs in the ground for sure.
Good job, Tristan. Well, that's great news. That's great news. I saw not only did you have a closing, but you also knocked on some doors yesterday.
Yeah,
Good man. Way to get out there in the cold, meet some people.
that's it, Mike. That's it.
Yeah. I was just thinking maybe you should bring some cocoa with you. You could offer them cocoa at the door, but in today's world, I guess that wouldn't be as popular as in the past. Um, all right, cool. Well, let's see. What else? Do you got any other good news?
So I remember yesterday I said that I've been working on a contract that blew apart and everything. Well, I got a call yesterday. So there's still a chance. Wish me luck. And that's what I'll be working on today.
Good luck, Angela. That's fantastic. So you had an offer that you were with the buyer, if I remember,
Yes.
and an investor, and made an offer, and it got a little squirrely on the other side. That the listing agent and the seller didn't have they had got their wires crossed a little bit maybe, and so it was nothing on your side to do. They just didn't know if they could move forward. It sounds like maybe they figured something out.
Yes, there's two attorneys and a judge involved. And so I guess they made some progress over the last couple of days. And now I just need to find out, is the buyer still interested? And there's a little bit of risk involved because we have to close next week. So yeah, see if I can put it together. I'll let you guys know next week.
Good job. Fingers crossed. Well, good job. Um, can't wait to hear how that works out. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Any other good news?
Yeah, we we have or I have a listing that'll be coming live here later this month. It's a really nice property that I've been working with the seller for a while. I'm getting it fixed up and ready to sell. This one had a number of things that needed to fall in place to get it ready, but it's a great seller. Um, we've We've really had some, and I want to talk about maybe when we get into it's an issue I want to discuss, an issue that we ran into, but we've already had a home inspection and we are awaiting an appraisal. So these are things pre-listing that I'm getting done. So that's a really good thing.
I like that. I like to hear that. That's really great. Um, that's good news as well. So congratulations on taking the listing, and the idea of having it pre-inspected, and then repaired if possible, or at least have a list of repairs, pre-appraisal. Another one would be pre-title work. Um, there have been some really strong agents out there in the past who have done that, and done incredibly well with that concept. Um,
You know, it's interesting you brought up the title work. I did already connect with a title company about this because of a question we had about the title. And, they haven't done a full-blown title search, so something could still, I guess, come up, but not anything unusual. They know what the lay of the land is, and they said, yeah, you can go ahead and list this. So,
Perfect. Yeah, the every state would be different. Um, in our area, we call it no, that's not right. Now I'm trying to remember E&O report, errors and emissions report, for the title work, and uh, it's a little report that they do at the beginning. And again, each state's different. In my state, the agent actually has to pay a small fee to have this done. But anyway, it's basically making sure that the owner owns the property and there's no surprises on any debt or liens against the property as well. So that's not a bad idea to do on every listing before you walk in, or at least before you sign up. Um, but especially if there's one that you're a little unsure about. Okay, cool. Well, that's good news, and we'll come back to your question there. I was just thinking of something. Let me look that up.
incidentally, I'm planning for a mega open house at this property on Sunday, December, I think it's the 13th, but maybe it's 14th. 14th.
Well, that's fantastic. That's pretty
Yeah.
exciting. So how do you define a mega open house?
Well, that's a good that's a good question. I'm going to utilize as many of the tools as you have given us with your mega open house plan. I'm planning on doing a preview for the neighborhood, uh, probably on Friday. It may be on Saturday, maybe Saturday morning. Um, And then the actual open house is Sunday afternoon, the public open house. So I am going to be, I've got enough time that I'm able to contact many of the neighbors and and do that. And I'll do, of course, my signage. I'm gonna do some extra marketing for it pre. I'm going to do some Facebook ads and that sort of thing to help out.
Go knock on some doors, invite some neighbors.
Oh, absolutely that. Yeah. Yeah, I've already met some of the neighbors. Met a couple of the neighbors. So when I was over there with photographer.
Yeah, the idea of leveraging the open house into much bigger than just, hey, throw a sign out front and see if any buyers show up. It's a pretty good one, and people have done well with this at different levels. Um, but turning it into a opportunity to meet more sellers in the neighborhood and get more listings, that's one that people in the past hadn't really thought about, and it is very powerful. And I'm glad to hear that you're going to be doing that. As far as pulling in buyers on the day of the event, the big key is typically signage. As many signs as you can get out from a major thoroughfare into your area. And therefore also the closer you are to a major thoroughfare, although not being right on it, tends to increase the numbers of activity as far as the people that show up to the actual open house.
Yeah, good point. And this particular house and neighborhood are well situated for that. Major thoroughfare is right at the entrance to the subdivision. So, and then the house is just one turn off of the main road, off of the main subdivision road. So you've got this main entrance, go down that road, and there's a left turn, and then the house is right there on the right. So I think it's well situated, and I have the time because I don't have the sellers working with me on the time, and we're still waiting on the appraisal. So we have time to actually plan it, and I already have photography done. So I'm going to be able to really promote it well. I'm excited about doing the open house. It's a great neighborhood if I can pick up some other buyers or sellers.
Yeah, so Blake, we've talked a lot over the years. Like I keep teasing you, but what's the power of an event? This is an event. What's the power of the
That's
event?
true. That's true. And I forget that it's just a straight up event and inviting people to it's the key. That's the power.
Yeah,
So
so
there's
invite
my
all the
December
neighbors
event. Yeah, that's my December event right there.
right there. It's a big one too. It'll be fun. So you invite all the neighbors. That's the big invitation part. You can invite your sphere. Right? You can reached out to them, let them know what you're doing. Maybe they got somebody that's interested or they're interested. You can really leverage this opportunity, and it's got a lot of uh, alternative benefits, right? So you're getting in front of your people, you're showing them that you're active in the market, especially in December. There's a lot of cool things there to leverage off of that open house and get some excitement going. Again, so you got a couple different people that you can reach out to. One is your SOI, two are the sellers in the neighborhood, three are the buyers that could be driving by, four could be if you have a buyer list, you can let them know. And then people do that as far as looking for buyers. It depends on your MLS. You may be able to promote open houses in your MLS to get that out to more people and try to generate more interest. So that's pretty cool. That's exciting. I can't wait to hear how that goes. And sounds like you got a good handle on it. If you need any advice, reach out. Does anybody else have any advice for Blake on doing a successful open house?
Those are great tips. The only thing that I want to add that I helped me in the past was if the house is empty, like there's no one in the house, to stand outside or on the driveway. And when people are coming by and you see them, you give them a wave and smile. And I noticed even when people don't stop, they do smile or wave back and look at the sign like, who is that guy? And then like, some of the people made the comment about that when they come
That's
in. So
great.
I would say to
Yeah.
do that if the house is empty instead of waiting inside.
That's fantastic, Tristan. I actually really like that. Yeah, especially if you were farming the neighborhood or like Blake said, he'd like to get more listings in that neighborhood to get a little bit of exposure. It's free exposure. You kind of created a moving billboard on the side of the road. Yeah, pretty sharp. Yeah. Anybody else got any ideas for Blake on his open house?
Well, this is one that I think a lot of realtors do, but um, have know the neighborhood and have a list of all the other homes that are available in the neighborhood or in the area that's kind of in the similar price range and or similar property. And that way, if that is not a good fit for the buyer, then uh, have that available that you can try to set up a showing with them at another property. And then the second thing is a sign-in sheet. And I think a lot of realtors are nervous about sometimes having a sign-in sheet, but I rarely get anybody that says no, they won't sign in. And I use a clipboard. I do the old-fashioned way, and I put it in their hands, and I just say, "Thank you so much for coming out to this open house." And then I explain what I'm going to do at the end. Um, So if you would please first go ahead and sign in, and that way I can let you know of any changes that we have with the property, and the seller would also request that you sign in. And then sometimes I don't even have to say that. I just say, would you please sign in? And they sign in, and then I explain, okay, if it's vacant, feel free to take a look around. At the end, I'm going to ask you to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, what you think, and then give me a little feedback. And then I just like kind of open it up with that and then let them go take a look. And I try to meet them at the end and, okay, what did you think? On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you guys think? And that gives you an idea, and then get that feedback. And then that's great feedback for your seller. Even if they're not interested, they'll usually give you a lot of feedback, uh, and that's so helpful, especially in the beginning.
These are great ideas. Thank you, Tristan and Angela. Thank you.
Cool. That was great stuff. Uh, Leveraging off one of those ideas, again, there's a lot of stuff that we've heard or know about, but we don't always implement. One of the great ideas from the past was if you put out a listing on, excuse me, a promotional sheet on your property, on your listing. So on the front, it says, hey, this house is for sale, and here are the particulars, and give me a call if you're interested, and put it in a flyer box. The great agents would then, on the back side of that listing, have all their backside of that piece of paper, have all their other listings in little teeny boxes, right? Here are the other properties we have available for sale, and go check these out too. And so then Angela was just leveraging off that. So if you have other listings in the neighborhood, you could have that you hand them out at the open house. And then the next step is if you don't have any listings that are yours, then you promote your cooperating agents listings through the MLS and let them know about them. And I've heard of agents, they'll do, as Tristan was mentioning in the beginning, a vacant open house. It's their main strategy. So they'll take a vacant open house and they'll hold it open every day, right? They'll sit there and create an office. And part of that philosophy is they'll have this list of other available properties. And if somebody walks in and decides they don't want that home, after you've exhausted that, you say, hey, I've got these other properties for sale. Would you like to go see them right now? And they'll just leave. They'll shut down the open house, leave, and go show the other property because you got a hot buyer in front of you. So there's no reason to stick around. So that's been a very successful strategy as well. Good job. Good job, everybody.
I do have a question. I'm thinking about the private preview for the neighborhood. Do you have experience with that being better on Friday? The public open is on Sunday afternoon. Do you have better experience with that being Friday evening, or it is a vacant house, or Saturday? I could do Saturday morning. I've got an obligation that night.
I don't personally, I don't have a lot of experience with open houses, period. I've just share the information I've received from other top agents who've done really well with it. And in the people that I've talked to and interviewed, they tend to hold the public open house to the neighbors, excuse me, the private open house to the neighbors, the preview open house. Usually the hour before they're going to do the regular open house. They're consolidating their efforts. You can do
Okay.
whatever you want. I don't. I think it's a great idea to do it another time if you prefer. But since you've got all this activity happening, you got all this signage out, you got a lot of you're drumming up a lot of interest in the neighborhood, and people are paying attention, and that's kind of where they'll go in. Maybe they'll go again. They'll make it an entire event around the event. So maybe they're going to hold the open house from noon to 2. And by the way, there's arguments on that, whether you should do a long open house like 3 hours or just 1 hour and really focus people in. I've done the philosophy actually shrink the time for other things I've done, like doing rentals and other things where you actually shrink the time. You get a lot of activity, a lot of people in there, a focused time period. So it seems like there's a lot of excitement about the property rather than spreading it out. But that's a different question. What they'll do is, let's say they'll do noon to blank is when the regular open house is, and then they'll have the pre-open house from 11 to noon for the neighbors. And then what they'll do is they'll knock on doors leading up to that, say from 10 to 11 or 9 to 11, depending on how many doors you're going to knock on. So again, they're kind of expanding around this event to make it an entire day of promotions. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so I've got some things to think through there, and I'll discuss it with
The
uh,
homeowner.
yeah, the homeowner as well as I'm going to discuss it with. I think I'm going to ask my fellow agent Kim Tucker to come and be a part of this. I think that'll be
Yes.
really helpful for her and for me too. So
It's a great idea to get her involved. Anybody, any of your team members, vendors, you can get them involved, especially if you think it's going to be a success or you've got some traction. Um, and if you make it a part of your plan, you do one every week. Their agents do these things every week. They'll get the vendor on board to also do co-op marketing. Maybe the lender sets up a little table and they could take loan applications or at least talk to people about their qualifications. So they're generating business interest as well. So that's another thing. Again, you can really leverage into this thing. It depends on how far you want to go. Especially if it's vacant. Think about that. You can hold it open every weekend till it sells.
yeah, that's right.
Where you're like, God, that would be crazy. Like, who would show up second, third week? I don't know, but the people that would show up are motivated, and the neighbors like, who is this guy? Man, he's working hard over there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of sell. Maybe I need to have this guy over here to talk to me. Okay, so that's why people do that kind of thing. All right,
And
cool.
my theory is with the open house, a lot of agents maybe, they're time consuming or they can be, you have to drive there, put your signs up, get the house ready, take it down, da, da, da. But the promotion that you get, so Zillow's going to notify everybody that has saved it that you're doing an open. Um, you get to promote it to everybody on social media. So that there is a great reason to do it. Your seller, you hopefully if people go through it, you're going to get feedback for them. And so yeah, and then if you take stuff to do, I like to shoot video or take those extra photos that maybe I didn't get with the photographer, and just make sure that you're using your time when you're there, working or doing something. It's not a waste of time. And another thing I thought of too is if you wanted to do a broker's open, like during the week, you might be able to combine that with the neighborhood open if you wanted to, because a broker's open, you tend to serve food, and it might be a little more, you might have that vendor partner, lender or title company that helps sponsor the food. And you can make it a little more like a party. and then invite the neighbors as well and just say this is more of a private thing just for realtors and the neighbors. So
Thank you. Good ideas.
Good point. Good point, Angela. Nice job. Yeah, again, the broker open is slightly different. You're now trying to promote to other agents in the market and let them know, try to get them in to see the property. Maybe there's something unique inside the property. Other thing Angela said that was great, again, you just can keep leveraging off this idea, is to do the video walkthrough. You can do that as a traditional video and record it and put it out there, but you can also do it as a Facebook Live. You do that maybe an hour or two before the event starts to try to get some people interested. Hey, I'm over here at this property, take a look at it. And if you're interested and you want to see it in person, come on over. Here's the address, right? So a lot of great ideas floating around out there, Blake, for your open house. Really leveraged off that idea. Thanks for sharing it. Good luck with the promotion of the new listing. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, so let's see, what else do we have? I didn't want to miss this today. Let's do it real quick. Recap of November events. So we all believe in event marketing, or we know the power of it. And I think that a couple of you had some Pi Day events. I'd love to hear a little recap about how it went. Who would like to share? Who did it? Who would like to share?
Yeah, so Patty, Aaron, and we did a group Pi Day event, and I recommend that, especially if you're not on a team or your brokerage isn't doing it, then partner with another agent, and that just makes it more fun, I guess, because you're there and you can share the burden of all the stuff that goes into it too. But yeah, it went really well. We gave away about 30 pies, and I would say that we invited about 100 people. So about a 30% people raised their hands, and actually probably we're like, well, no, that's about right. We also got a couple of extras. Patty got a couple of extras that she gave away to first responders. She took them to the fire department, which is what we recommend doing if you have leftovers, if somebody doesn't make it or something. But everybody, I believe, made it except for one person that we delivered to. But it went really well. And I had 3 different people talk to me about just casually say, oh, and remember, we're going to call you in 2026 when we're ready to sell our house. And then someone else, still thinking about building a new construction, getting a new construction house, So it's just a great, I don't know, a way to stay connected and without being like focused on the real estate part. It kind of comes naturally. So
That's fantastic, Angela. Congratulations on a great event. Sounds like it
thank
went
you.
really well and was very successful. And you've done these, so many of them over the years. It must have been just natural.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is but we did it in 2 locations this time, and I wasn't sure if how that was going to work out, if it was worth it or not. I do think it was worth it because uh, here in Houston, it's pretty normal to have to drive 30, 45 minutes anywhere, but in smaller town Tulsa, it's not. And so people just, I don't think they would come. So we wanted to like remove that obstacle and make it easy. So we did one on one side of the town and one on the other side. We had time in between. So we did 2 pie pickups because we wanted the pies to stay fresh and stay in the cooler and not have to worry about it. We had time to grab some food in between, and it was a lot of fun.
Wow, that's interesting. So I would have thought that Houston being so huge, that's the one you would have had a north and a south, or multiple locations. but it was actually the smaller area of Tulsa. Now, Tulsa's not a teeny place, but it's smaller than Houston. And that's the one you decided to do 2 locations. And you said you would do that again. You would do the pie. It's basically having somebody come to pick up the pie, 2 locations. And you said that was successful. How many pies got picked up in each location? You said 30 total pies.
We had the most in the second location, but we had about 10 in the first and 20 in the second. So it was worth it. The only thing that we might consider doing differently, our North sponsor though is great. He has a great location and both locations were great, but maybe pick something in the middle. But then so anyway, just the way that the city's laid out, then I'd have to have a lot of our clients are up north and they'd have to come into town, and then same with south. And that, so I don't know if we'll change it, but that's a good point. I didn't do one in Houston because I don't have as many clients, and we were going to be in Tulsa for the holiday anyway. So, but if I were to do it in Houston, I would probably choose a central location in Houston, but it just depends, something that you could do in any city, I suppose, if you're spread out like Blake is in 2 different states and stuff.
Cool. Angela, congratulations on the great Pi Day event. Blake, I think you also did a Pi Day event. How'd that go?
I did. It was terrific. I was very pleased for my first year event. It was not big, but it was, I mean, I say it wasn't big compared to what Angela was doing, but she's been doing this for a while. So I ended up, it was actually about 60 invitations that went out, and I had 7 pies that were uh, received. One was delivered. I delivered one of those, but the other 6 were all picked up, and I had 100% pickup. So didn't have anybody not show. It was a rainy, nasty evening. It got dark and people were still rolling in. So I was very pleased. I got good response from folks. I know so I got crickets from some people, even when my follow-ups and all that, but that's okay. A lot of people try to reach me and get crickets from time to time. So I always flip that switch and realize, there are people who I may not be responding to, that they've tried to sell me something, or just trying to actually just reach out. And I usually do respond to those, obviously. But um, anyway, I also received 2 follow-ups after Thanksgiving from 2 of the people that had received the pies. One sent me a photo of the pie pan empty with a fork and a spoon. This was on Saturday. Said, "Hey, we just finished it." And then he explained to me that it had gone to 2 different family events, and then he and his wife finished it off on Saturday. So that was good. And then another one just had a really nice report. He kind of he wrote a narrative of where he'd gone with the pie, how everybody loved it. It got eaten more than the other pies. And then he went on to say just how much he appreciated our friendship over the years. So, wow. I mean, this was a good thing. This was a very good thing. I look forward to doing it next year. I had at least 2 people tell me they don't cook. It was very important to them. One one lady showed up to get her pumpkin pie, and she told us that her husband, PJ, had asked, he said, "What kind of pie is it?" And she said, "What does it matter? We don't cook. It's free. It's coming from Blake. It's going to be good." I love that story.
This is fantastic, Blake. And I appreciate the stories. They really create color. They create life into this event. Other people can visualize the event that you did by sharing these stories. Remember the power of stories when you're in your listing presentations, your buyer presentations, when you're meeting people, definitely for the first time, but even as you're developing the relationship, they're so strong. to share these visuals that people can jump into. So I was noticing the rest of us were smiling as you were sharing your stories, because everybody wants to be part of these events and to connect with people in a positive way. Also, Blake, just real fast, you said, there were a bunch of people didn't respond. That's okay. The invitation is the power. They were invited, and they have a connection to you as well. Blake was thinking about me. I couldn't get back to him for whatever the reason, but Blake was thinking about me. So that's good. Good job. All right, I'm glad to hear that the Pi Day events went so well. Thank you, Angela, for doing your training last month to get everybody up and running. I know Blake participated in that, and obviously it turned out well. So good job. Let's do this. Let's switch gears. Blake, you mentioned you needed some assistance with something, or you wanted to put something in front of the group. What is that?
Yeah, so something that came up in this listing that I'm doing that I wanted to kind of run by the group, and this is actually what triggered the pre-appraisal. I mean, I'm never going to argue with the idea of a pre-appraisal. That's a good idea, but there was a square footage discrepancy. We came up with 3 different recorded square footages for this property. And the neighborhood that it's in happens to be one that many of the homes are similar in quality. They're very similar in quality. And so once, there are some finishings that are different, of course, in each one, but for the most part, the square footage per square foot is going to be pretty consistent in this neighborhood. So we were working on pricing it using the square footage for the neighborhood for what we had found with recent sales, or what I had found, obviously, in my market analysis. And then what happened was I'm sitting there with this square footage number, it was around 3,500 square feet. Or no, it was around it was around 3,000 square feet. And then I'm telling the homeowner, so with yours being 3,000 square feet, blah, 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 and we come up with a pricing strategy using that. And they said, no, wait a minute, it's 3,500 square feet. So, well, that's a big difference. Let's figure this out. So they had tax records from 2012 that showed 3,500 square feet. I was looking at current tax records, which showed 3,000 square feet. And then they had bought it in 2012. So I said, well, I'm sure it was, there was a appraisal done, and the appraiser is going to measure. So that's probably going to be the most accurate number out there. Let's go look at this will fix this. When we go get the appraisal from 2012, they found it, and it had 2,900 square feet. So we had 3 different official documents, really. I mean, I know the tax record is always going to be questionable, but I mean, they've been paying taxes on it by the square foot for a while. So anyway, I just wanted to see if you have run into this much. I've talked to the appraiser about it, and he's the appraisal that's going to be done now. He's remeasuring, of course, and going to get an accurate measurement for us. But in my discussion with him, he said, here's the thing, Blake. I'm going to give you obviously the accurate square footage of the property. But he said, even among appraisers, there's going to be some variation because of their method of measurements. He said, some will round up, some will round down. It's not necessarily going to be precise, even with us measuring. And I just want to see if y'all have run into this, how you've addressed it in the past. I don't think it's going to be reasonable to expect that every future seller is going to be up for paying an appraiser to come measure it properly. This one was, so we're going to get an accurate measurement. Then the other thing is the comps that we now use. The comp information is coming off the tax records. So we have to assume, or I think it's a safe assumption, I should say, that they're inaccurate as well.
Yeah, you don't know why your number is right or wrong as far as the public record, and that's a whole other discussion, right? Taxes and what you want to do with that. Let's leave that alone for a minute. Let's talk about the marketing and the promotion through the MLS. You want to give accurate information. That's what you're being hired to do. You need accurate information to advise your client, the seller, or if you were working with the buyer, you'd want accurate information. Um, yeah, let me step back. I'm in Colorado, and we actually have a form, square footage disclosure, and I'm not sure if everybody else does across the country, but we have a form where we have to disclose what the square footage is and how we got the number. And the options are you get it out of the county record, which is the most common, and then the other one is you get it off an appraisal, which you were just talking about, and the third is you personally make the measurement, and then there's an option for something else for other. Um, my advice, first of all, is you should try probably never to be the one who makes the measurement, because you don't want to be wrong, because then you could literally get sued for the differences in the square footage if somebody were to dispute that later. So it's best to use one of the other two sources, and you have the county record, you got an appraiser coming in, and they'll give their number. And there are different methods for doing square footage. Are you going to measure to the outside wall, to the inside wall, to the middle of the wall? You know, how exactly? So your appraiser is correct in that each number will be slightly different. The best way to get it is to go all the way back, if possible, to the original blueprints from the builder. If possible, some of these properties are really old and that's not possible, but if you can do that, that's the best way to go. To find out what was going on. Maybe your county keeps those, the original blueprints, or somewhere there was a filing from the builder to build the property. Beyond that, I think you're doing the right thing. Get that appraiser in there and get them to give you the number. I think that's a great idea to get some clarity on this, especially with that big of a discrepancy. We're talking about 15%, and that can make a big difference on the value of the property. For a buyer, as well as the bank and the appraiser. There's a lot of other parties that are interested in this number that are going to want to see it. So I think you're doing the right thing as far as getting that information. And if you don't have a disclosure in your state, make sure you do some kind of disclosure of where you got the number, if it's something that's outside of whatever is traditionally done. So I guess I'll start there. Let's just do a quick survey. Do you guys have a form in your area that says this is where I got the square footage and it's going from the seller to the buyer? No? Okay.
No form, but my MLS gives that is something I guess it's a box or option or something in the MLS, because that's when I put the square footage in, it asks for the source. So I will be publishing the source, but there's not a state form.
You don't have a document that does it, but you're doing it.
Right.
You're doing it basically from the agent to the public, or the agent to the other agents through the MLS, where you're indicating how you're finding the square footage. Okay, good. If you do it through the appraisal and you market the number that comes off the appraisal, just make sure that you personally, as the agent, keep a copy of that appraisal, again, in case it comes back to you in the future, where the new homeowner says, "Oh, that's not the right square footage," and they want to sue everybody for the discrepancy, the difference in the dollar per square footage. And these numbers can get pretty big pretty fast. 500 square foot at whatever it is in your area, $200, $300, $400, $500 per square foot, that stuff can add up pretty quick. So yeah, I think you're doing the right thing, Blake. Angela, what do you got? Tristan, you got anything?
Oh, go ahead, Tristan.
You're doing the right thing, Blake. And my system's the same as yours. Yeah, Angela, let us know.
So over the years, this has happened quite a few times, really, in the overall, but so you said that when they bought it, the listing showed that the square footage was the big number, the 3,500?
It was not the listing, the tax record. They actually had a copy of the tax record from, well, it was CRS, so it was obviously public record. I was able to
Mhm.
look at the source, and it was the public record that had the
Mhm.
large number. So that's an interesting thing, is that somewhere along the line, the tax office decided to change that. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, okay, so that gives me a couple clues, but what we would recommend, especially if you go in and that situation happens where you say, okay, tax records say that this is 3,000 square feet, and they're like, no, it should be 3,500. That's what I was told when I bought it. But then their appraisal was 2,900 or whatever the situation. Then always, like, if it's 100 or more, give them the option if they want to get a square foot measurement, and it's going to be cheaper than like a full appraisal, where they'll just go in and measure, the appraiser will. And some things that I've seen over the years, what can happen is when it was built, the builder might have intended to finish an attic or a room, and then the buyers decided not to finish it out. And so maybe that original plan square footage got tied to it, which is kind of not good, because then they were paying for 500 square feet that they weren't using through taxes. Um, or what can happen sometimes the opposite way is if it it's definitely 3,500, but the tax records only say 2,900. Is it heated and cooled properly, like to where the appraiser would justify it as usable? Is that bonus area not directly connected to the house? Do you have to go through the garage or an exterior like staircase or walkway or breezeway or something, where the appraisers have certain rules that they have to follow to count it as a part of the square footage. But the heating and cooling is a big deal. If it doesn't have that, then a lot of times they won't count it. I've also seen where they do some weird things if there's a basement and even a walkout basement. They have these weird calculations that they do. And so maybe ask the appraiser after he walks through it and just say, what is your opinion on how originally it was 3,500 square feet? And I would say that it was probably an attic or something that they never ended up finishing out. So, uh, but that big of a difference is huge. And so that could cause problems if the correct square footage isn't listed for sure.
Agreed. Yeah, thank you. Now, when I spoke with the appraiser, because I ordered the appraisal basically. He worked it out with the homeowner, to get there and pay for it and all that. But it's interesting. He explained to me, because he knows that neighborhood well, and he said he pretty much pointed it to the tax office as being lazy, so to speak. I don't know that they're lazy, but they've got to evaluate every single piece of property, and they don't have access to measurements from the inside. And maybe they did from building records, I don't know. But they don't get to go in the house. So they have to take the exterior. And he said, in that neighborhood in particular, a lot of vaulted ceilings. And he said that kills you every time. He said they take that base square footage, double it, or do the 1.5 or whatever. They just do a blanket number at the tax office, is what he said. I don't know if that's the
Wow.
way it happens everywhere. That may just be the tax district that we're talking about. That may be the particular appraisal procedure done in this county. But he said, yeah, and that's why he pointed out. He said, so that means the other houses in the neighborhood are also probably wrong on the tax record, because there's a lot of vaulted ceilings. Everybody's got these high ceilings in there.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that's
that's
not good
another
at all.
twist. Yeah, that's another twist.
Because if you're, so hopefully when the seller bought the house, their agent pointed out, look at this appraisal compared to the tax records, but they may not have. So if your seller believed that they had a 3,500 square foot house and they don't, that's a lot of difference. And right, when you go to price it, that's going to be a big difference in pricing too. But
Yeah.
if they're all like that, I don't know.
No, it is.
Weird.
Okay. Well, y'all have helped me think through it some and think through some of the possibilities of
Yeah, but you're doing the right thing by having that proof. Let the buyer, and then you can also put that in the broker remarks. We have had 3 different square foot measurements. This is what we have. The buyer needs to, whatever they say, do their due diligence
yeah,
and come to a decision on their own because
which they will if they get lending. If they get
mhm.
any kind of traditional lending, they'll have an appraisal.
Yeah, but I have had it to where it was higher from tax records and then they do their appraisal, it comes back 300 square foot less, and they're like, I'm not paying that now because
Yeah,
it's smaller. And then we have to renegotiate price and all kinds of stuff. But
yeah, that's
good to know ahead
exactly.
of time.
That was a critical thing because I realized I need to be sure to disclose this because the tax record's showing one thing and the actual square footage is another. So I'm thinking I'll explain that in the at least in the private remarks, in the agent remarks. Explain, hey, we just got it measured. Here's the measurement.
Okay, explain
The
it in the
tax record says, what's that?
public remarks as well. You want to make disclosure to everybody when you're
That's
making.
true. Good
Yeah.
point. Good point.
All right, good job, Blake. Thanks for bringing that up. That was a fun one. Let's let me just wrap up with this. The idea of getting a pre-inspection, pre-appraisal, and pre-title work, that comes from Bob Bolin. Took me a minute to remember, but Tristan remembers Bob Bolin. Bob Bolin was one of the greatest agents of all time, sold 10,000 properties, and that was as a second career. Pretty amazing. And one of the things that he would do to move his system along is his listing of, he's the one that did a 20 question listing presentation. Just ask 20 questions, get the answers and have them sign. I mean, and the way he would speed things up is he wouldn't give it a price at the time of his listing agreement because there's going to be an appraisal done later, right? So he was able to bypass a lot of the challenges you would normally experience in a listing presentation. But then it also made sure all these properties were really ready to go. All the repairs were done. Everybody in the market knew when he brought a listing, it was in great shape. It was priced well, and it had already been pre-inspected. The title work, they knew the ownership was correct. It was going to be a smooth transaction. So it's a really interesting approach. And if you're ever curious about that, Bob talks about it in his interview in Mastermind Agent. So you can go check out his call. All right, so good job, everybody. Thank you for being here for the production call. Hopefully it's been helpful. We're going to wrap up the production call and we're going to move into our daily huddle real quick. Again, in the huddle, we say the number one thing we did yesterday to move our business forward and the number one thing we're going to do today to move our business forward. Who would like to start?
I'll start. Number one thing yesterday was door knocking. I had 42 knocks, 11 conversations, and made 3 new connections. And number one thing for today is door knocking again. And I want to beat my yesterday total of knocks.
Is it cold there, Tristan? I see you got your hat on.
Today's a bit warmer than yesterday, so that's good.
Yeah, how did it go when it was cold? Did people open the door? Did you obviously must have because you talked to 11.
Yeah, I spoke to some people, but you could see the cold was definitely affecting especially elderly people that weren't dressed like with warmer sweaters and stuff already on. So right away you would see them like tuck behind the door or close it more than they did initially once they felt the briskness. So I just adjusted and had shorter conversations with those people or when I seen that they were cold and stuff. So but now it was good. Looking forward to getting back out there again today.
Good job, Tristan. That's amazing and inspirational. Thank you so much. And good luck with your door knocking today.
Thanks,
All
Mike.
right, good. Who else would like to share?
Yesterday, I am spent a lot of time just trying to get, like we all probably did, try to get back into all of the different pieces that I have going on, and spoke to two tenants that um, they are moving into a property this week, like 2 units. So it's a duplex, and we rented out both sides. And then also just moving forward, like I got that call that I mentioned yesterday for let's try to get this contract back alive again. So that's what I'm doing today, is trying to see if we can put this back together. And then also just continue getting everything ready for those two tenants to move in.
Good job, Angela. Congratulations on that thing coming back together, because you thought it was completely dead. Now it looks like it might be possible. And it sounds like if it does come together, it might be a fast close. So that'd be cool. I know you'll do your due diligence and make sure that everybody, that your client is protected, and dig into it if it does come together. So good job. All right, Blake, what you got?
I would say yesterday, working on getting another showing confirmed at this tenant occupied property. It's a little bit of a process each time I'm trying to get a showing confirmed. Um, the tenant needs to coordinate and work with us because she's got dogs there and all these things. And then I will be present as well. I've been present at each showing. Also got the feedback from over the weekend, a showing we had over Thanksgiving weekend. So got feedback on that. So that was yesterday. Today, I'm going to be working on and meeting with the seller of planning this open house, this mega open house. Because we just talked briefly about an open house, and then over the Thanksgiving weekend, I thought it through and thought, okay, I'm going to do a full-blown mega open house. You guys helped me put that together.
Cool. Blake, can't wait to hear how that goes. Congratulations on your listings and showings. You're moving into the right end of the market, in my opinion. If you can work with more sellers, you're able to control your time more. So whenever you can take listings, I think it's an advantage, even in a slowing market, and maybe even more so in a slowing market. Make sure that you have control over the process and your time. So good job. Good job. Let's see. Yesterday for me, I made some dials out to my special list, and it's a very interesting list. I was only able to do only had 7 dials, but I had 3 conversations. So right there, a lot of people are talking on the phone, which is really great to me, because when I was calling expireds, nobody was picking up the phone. Um, so people are actually willing to talk. I had good conversations with people. And this list is so strong. We had 3 conversations. 2 people are selling their property. I mean, you tell me, what else are you going to do? Call and talk to 3 people, and 2 people are selling their property. The one said they already have an agent lined up. And I'm trying to see if I can get in and become a second option for them. And the other one is early in the process, but took my name and my number and said it's okay for me to stay in touch with him. So again, these people, they're probably going to be selling their homes within the next 3 to 6 months. So uh, you got to try to find these sources of business like that, if at all possible, where you, the idea of shooting fish in a barrel or fishing fish in a barrel, where they're all in a very small, concentrated place. I've been working for months trying to figure out how to get my hands around this list of people, and this is why, because once you get it figured out, then the odds of your success can go way up. So I'll keep tinkering with that concept, and if I'm able to iron out all the kinks, I'll let you know. But that's my report on that. And today I'll be making more dials out to that group. I figured out how to pull in another group of people over this last week that I can now reach out to. So it's a small, concentrated group of people, but they have a high probability of selling their property. And so I think it's awesome. And I can't wait to share more with you as it develops. All right, that's what's going on today. Thank you for being here for the huddle. Thanks for being here for the production call. I hope you all have a fantastic and productive rest of your day. Take care.
Bye, everyone.